We have some breaking news now on the Iran deal. US President Donald Trump has posted on social media confirming that the deal with Iran is scheduled to be signed tomorrow. And immediately after that, the Strait of Hormuz will be open for all. This is some of what he has just posted on Truth Social. He said Barack Hussein Obama's deal with Iran, the JCPOA, was an easy, beautiful, smooth road to a nuclear weapon, which Iran would have had 6 years ago and would have used long before now. My agreement with Iran is the exact opposite, a wall to no nuclear weapon. In fact, they no longer want a nuclear weapon, nor will they have one, either through purchase, development or any other form of procurement. The deal is scheduled to get signed tomorrow, and immediately after it is signed, the Hormuz Strait is open to all. That is President Donald Trump there posting on Truth Social in the last few minutes. We're going to go to Heidi Jo Castro, who is in Washington, D.C. for us. And Heidi, that's about a third of what he posted. What else did he have to say on Truth Social?
Right. Well, he went on to criticize more the Obama administration's deal with Iran. But the real grains of news, as you just highlighted, is the U.S. president says that a deal with Iran will be signed, he says, tomorrow. And then he said immediately afterwards the Strait of Hormuz would be opened. And then he went on to say in the future the U.S. would go into Iran and get what he calls nuclear dust. That's the enriched uranium that was buried underneath the U.S. Missile attacks more than a year ago. So all of this, first time confirmation from the U.S. president that a deal, he says, will be signed. First time that we have a timing for this from the U.S. president saying that it is tomorrow. Again, this is built on a long history, though, of times when Trump has said that a deal would be finalized just around the corner, only for those expectations not to be met. This time perhaps is different, given that we also have the same sort of optimistic language coming from Iran and from Pakistanis, the mediators. So, of course, all eyes are on when and if this deal is truly signed. We know, we've heard from our correspondents, that this will be a digitally signed deal. And as far as the contents of it, those are still murky, still no less clear than they were an hour ago. What we do know is that this would be a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, as Donald Trump has just said, and to extend the ceasefire. We've heard 60 days is the time frame that both sides are looking at, with, again, those bigger questions about how to handle Iran's nuclear program, U.S. sanctions, frozen assets, all of those things to be further negotiated down the road.
Indeed. Just to remind people of what we believe is included in this first phase, Iran has said it is likely to include a 60-day ceasefire on all fronts, including Lebanon, a mechanism to unfreeze Iranian assets, the end of a U.S. naval blockade, and new terms for resolving the Strait of Hormuz. And it also includes a plan for negotiations towards a broader, longer-term deal and agreement. Heidi, Donald Trump also said in this Truth Social post, we look forward to working with Iran and the entire Middle East long into the future. But he then went on to issue a veiled threat saying, we hope this process will all work out quickly, easily and smoothly. If it doesn't, we have the ultimate alternative. What would he have meant by that, do you think?
Well, he has had this long back and forth, as you know, of threatening military action. He's talked about annihilating a civilization, in his words, swinging back from those sort of bombastic threats to this optimism for a negotiated diplomatic solution. So always keeping that option in his back pocket. And we hear those words echoed by his Secretary of Defense in this very aggressively public-facing message from the U.S. Defense Department, now renamed the U.S. Department of War. How much is actually put into practice, we never know with this U.S. president. Again, he uses all of these tools as part of his negotiating arsenal. But the big headline here, again, President Trump saying that within the next day, he says that this deal with Iran would be signed. And again, the reason we can believe this, or that it appears to be credible, is again because other sides are also saying the same. We heard from the same from Iran as well as from the Pakistani mediators. So all eyes are whether or not this deal is truly signed digitally in the next 24 hours, as these sides seem to be confirming it will be.